Hello. So today we are going to be learning Likkutei Torah Bamidbar Vav. We're finishing up the Maimer Misper B'nei Israel, and what the Maimer has explained so far is that in an effort to understand this pasuk that describes the coming of Mashiach as being that the Jewish people will have will be like the sand of the sea, without count and without measure, and that people will say about us that instead of saying about us, that we are that God has no nation, they are going to say that we are the sons of the living God. And so the Rabbi explains that there's a fundamental Jewish trait, which is a thirst for the Eibishter and a thirst for revelation. And the Jewish thirst is something that is never fulfilled because God is infinite. Unfortunately, being that we are in Galus, we unfortunately have trouble perceiving that thirst. And God gives us mitzvahs and Torah as a means of revealing our innate desire for Him. And when we perform Torah mitzvahs, we end up being inspired and end up becoming aware of our own thirst. And so now, as the Rabbi finishes this Maimer, he says like this. He explains that in the times of Mashiach, we aren't going to necessarily need this inspiration, because we are going to appreciate our own innate desire for God. And so the pasuk V'haya Misspar is describing this reality. Mispar, right? The counting, the whole idea of counting, has to do with limitation. And so when we can count the mitzvahs are 248 positive commandments, 265 negative commandments. When we're given the mitzvahs, we had a count of 600,000. There's this world wherein we are limited by a numbered count, but that numbered count does not take into account tshuva. That when we do tshuva, we are reaching a point at which those numbers don't matter, and we're reaching a point that is higher than those limited numbers. And so the Navi Hosea is observing that when Mashiach comes and the Jewish people do tshuva, they are going to reach a reality where there's no idea of mispar, there's no idea of count. And this also towards the end of the pasuk, that we say that we are now going to be his nation. We're going to be the children of the living God, right? What is it that we've done that stops us from being called his nation? That has to do with Averis. That when a Jew does Averis, it makes it appear as though we are not his nation. And when Mashiach comes, it's going to become completely obvious that we are God's children, we are the children of the living God, that we are the direct fulfillment. And this quality is going to be evident in the Ish Mazriya Tchila that we mentioned many times, the idea that in our current reality, we experience divine revelation, and we expect the divine revelation, and the divine revelation ceases. But the reality of the Messianic era will be an appreciation of the world, and the world's ability to produce its own inspiration, and that's going to have a lasting and permanent effect. And the pasuk ends off, and the next pasuk in this sequence describes how the children of Yehuda and the children of Israel will be combined as one. Yehuda being the relationship with God that is from below to above, and Yisrael being the relationship with God that is from above to below, and that the two of those realities will be combined. And with this we end the Maimer. Now the end of the page is an explanation on this Maimer, and the particular detail that is discussed, that we're going to discuss today, is a phrase. It's a pasuk that says that when that there will be a enrichment of the stream of God, the Peleg Elokim, that it will become filled with water. And the Rebbe, to explain this idea of the Peleg Elokim, this river of God, and what happens when it's enriched. So he says that the word Elokim is is made up of two words, mem yud, which means me, who, right? The Hebrew word is me, the English word is who, and Eila is these. So the word Elokim produces the words me, Eila. And me, philosophically, when somebody says who, they're referring to somebody who is not present. And Eila, this one or these, is referring to somebody who is present. And so me, Eila, is a contradictory set of words. And when they're combined to make Elokim, they're describing a reality that is inherently contradictory, where the perspective that God is present, Eila, is being lost in this reality of me. And in our personal service, this means that we struggle to connect to God and to make our awareness of God something that is lasting and permanent. And we are trapped in this challenge of not being able to combine our feelings of God being immanently present and our feelings of God being foreign. And so when there's this Peleg Elokim, when there's this river being enriched, what it's describing is that Elokim becomes split, so that both of these perspectives can be fully appreciated, and both these perspectives can be something that we are aware of. And what this means in a practical sense is that we will have the ability to produce real and lasting feelings through our meditations of God.